Welcome to Sundowning, also known as late-day confusion. This session is for anyone caring for someone experiencing cognitive changes associated with dementia. While we're going to briefly discuss what sundowning is and what these symptoms are, we'll be spending most of our time today talking about why it occurs and how we can respond to it. If you find you need to talk about anything you hear today after the webinar ends, I encourage you to connect with the First Link Dementia Helpline at 1-800-936-6033. The numbers will also appear on the last slide. We're going to define sundowning or late-day confusion and talk about what causes it and identify possible triggers. We'll look at what kinds of behaviors are associated with late-day confusion and how we can respond in the most helpful way. Our goal is that by the end of this session, you'll be better able to identify when someone is experiencing late-day confusion, and you will have determined a couple of strategies that you're going to try. Before we go any further, let's talk about why you've seen two different terms on the slide so far. I've referred to both sundowning and late-day confusion. Sundowning is still the most commonly used term for this set of behaviors, but sundowning may suggest that the person's behavior is the result of a problem with the person. The term late-day confusion focuses on the behaviors rather than the person. Because of this, we prefer not to use sundowning, and so for the remainder of the session, I'm going to either talk about individual behaviors or refer to late-day confusion. But it's important for you to understand that the two terms, sundowning and late-day confusion, both refer to the same set of behaviors. Late-day confusion describes a fairly consistent pattern of behavior that's related to a time of day when the person living with dementia experiences an increase in dementia symptoms and behaves in ways that are difficult to understand, often in the late afternoon or early evening. You may notice increased confusion, anxiety, insecurity, agitation, or restlessness. Many caregivers are challenged when coping with these behaviors. Sometimes the person living with dementia may experience visual and auditory hallucinations, or they may have verbal outbursts such as shouting, swearing, or name-calling. Late-day confusion can also involve physical contact, such as scratching, pushing, kicking, or hitting. However, not everyone who experiences late-day confusion experiences it at the same time of day. So take note of any trends you notice in the behavior patterns you see, because it might be different for the person you are supporting. It's kind of like morning sickness. Even though it's called morning sickness, many pregnant women experience nausea, but not everyone experiences it in the morning. Some have evening sickness, if you want to think of it that way. A variety of triggers have been associated with late-day confusion. Some of these include fatigue. Both being physically and mentally tired may trigger the symptoms of late-day confusion. It's common that by mid-afternoon we all experience a dip in energy levels. This is felt even more strongly in a person living with dementia whose brain has to work extra hard to compensate for the cognitive changes they are experiencing. We know that for many people with dementia, changes in the brain result in the disruption of our circadian rhythms. That's our internal clock, which may lead to a confusion of day and night. Also, changes in the brain may lead to decreased melatonin production. We're often asked about using supplemental melatonin to address late-day confusion. There have been a few studies looking at supplementing melatonin with mixed results. Further research is needed before melatonin can be recommended. Consult a physician if you are considering melatonin as a supplement. Other environmental factors can contribute to late-day confusion, such as reduced light during the day, shadows, boredom, afternoon fatigue, lack of routine or a change in routine, noise and chaos, and unmet needs, loneliness, or lack of stimulation. Conversely, someone may be overstimulated. Don't forget, caffeine and alcohol are common stimulants. It's also important to recognize that caregiver stress can be a trigger. Nonverbal signs of stress or fatigue, such as body language and tone of voice, can contribute to late-day confusion. Some medications can cause side effects such as agitation or behavioral disruptions, or alternatively, some medications may wear off later in the day. Some of these triggers may require medical attention. It's always a good idea to inform your doctor or medical professional about sundowning, late-day confusion symptoms. There are a number of behaviors that might occur or get worse with late-day confusion. You might observe that the person becomes demanding or angry. In other words, you see a noticeable mood change. They may experience delusions, false beliefs like someone stole my money, and or hallucinations, which is seeing things or hearing things like there's a child standing in the corner. The person may start to pace or want to move. Late-day confusion often includes restlessness and the desire to get out, leave the home, go somewhere else, do something, saying things like, I have to get home now, I have to go pick up the children, I have to go make dinner. The person might fail to recognize you or another familiar person, such as a spouse or close family member. The person may have difficulty understanding a conversation, comprehending words, and forming words. They also may struggle to complete a task that is normally achievable. For example, someone might successfully brush their teeth in the morning, but in the evening, the person may hold the toothbrush upside down and push it around the sink. Are any of these things that you have observed in the person that you are supporting? Let's look at an example. John was supporting his wife Dora, who was in the mid stages of dementia and experiencing quite severe late-day confusion. After 3 o'clock in the afternoon on most days, when John would walk into the room, his wife would scream, "Get out!" It was clear that Dora did not recognize him at all. John noticed that Dora didn't have much going on in the later afternoon and that her confusion increased dramatically as the afternoon went on. Furthermore, he realized that if she heard his voice before she saw him, she didn't seem to be as confused about who he was. So he thought about some things he might do. John asked friends to call Dora to talk on the phone at around 3 o'clock and to keep her engaged. Or he arranged visits with a neighbor because socializing helped Dora to feel good. He knew she was more prone to more severe confusion after 5 o'clock, so he developed a technique where he would go into another room and call her from his cell phone and have a chat. After a nice chat, he let Dora know, "I'm just on my way in the front door now." He then walked in, still talking on the phone, then hung up and said, "Hi, honey, I'm home now." He shares that it worked almost all the time. And when it didn't work, John would leave the room again and call from the cell phone again. Dora recognized his voice without fail. John realized that it was his physical appearance that led to confusion and fear. And because of his investigations, they continued to have phone conversations in the late afternoon for over a year. Let's look at another example. Raj is a person who experiences late-day confusion. He lives with his daughter Sarah and her family. Raj was sleeping more and more during the day and getting up at night to watch TV. He was confused at night and would tell Sarah he saw a strange child in the house asking for food. Sarah considered the triggers for late-day confusion. She needed to investigate whether Raj was in pain, having a reaction to medications, or experiencing some other trigger that contributed to his increasing sleep reversal. She watched him carefully for a few days, and she realized the following. Raj was sleeping later and later in the mornings, sometimes not getting up until lunchtime. He drank several cups of coffee and tea in the evening, which of course in turn meant that he needed to urinate several times at night. Also, the flickering light from the TV and the low light from the living room lamp created moving shadows around Raj in the afternoon and evenings. Sarah made several changes. She switched to decaffeinated coffee and tea for Raj. She tried to discourage his drinking fluids after 8 p.m. She would remove the coffee and tea from the kitchen at that time and offer Raj a yogurt. If he asked for coffee, she would apologize that they were out of coffee and promise to get him more the next day. She began to wake Raj up in the morning and serve him his favorite breakfast. It took some time for this to make a new routine for Raj, and sometimes Sarah had to say, "Dad, it's time to get up for work." In the morning, Sarah would turn on all the lights in the house, open the blinds and drapes, and point out that it was daytime and time to be awake. And Sarah also made sure that Raj spent time outside daily, especially in the sun whenever possible. Raj still needed time to nap during the day. It was about finding a balance for him between activity and rest. And during the evening, Sarah changed the lighting to reduce shadows in the home. She left the light on in the bathroom all day and night and installed brighter lights in the living room. She closed the blinds and drapes at night so Raj could not see the shadows outside. The result? Raj still gets up at night to use the washroom, but less often. Sometimes he goes directly to the bathroom and back to bed. Sometimes he goes into the living room to watch TV. He still sees strange children in the home from time to time, but less frequently than before. In the helpful resources document you'll see below this video is a link to the video shown on this screen. I know that's a very awkward address to try and write down, so it is just a clickable link in the PDF below this video. This is a video from UCLA Health about a son who's woken up by his mother in the middle of the night. He's having a tough time. We think this is a very helpful video, and we'd really encourage you to watch it. Pay attention to what the son is saying and how he is saying it. Most of us can relate to this scenario. Many of us have experienced the frustration, exhaustion, and disbelief the son demonstrates in the video. but seeing it gives us a chance to see some areas where he might have done better. As you watch, think about the son's tone of voice, how he is communicating, what his body language is saying. If you could describe him in one word, what would that word be? In the first part, the son corrects his mom. You haven't worked in 20 years. And then he criticizes his mom. Would you just stop bothering everyone? Do you think these statements open the door to an argument? If mom is living in the past, who is everyone? If she's getting ready for work, shouldn't that everyone already be up eating breakfast? Again, this comment could lead to more conflict. Think about how mom responds to her son. In the second half of the video, the son is more open to his mother's reality, and when he asks a question, "Do you need some help?" the question is a bridge, a way of finding out what mom is thinking, of helping the son figure out what's going on and giving him time to wake up. He's also giving his mom permission to be herself in that moment. Curiosity can be helpful in understanding late-day confusion. Asking a question can also help us avoid an argument. We are attempting to connect with the person and provide support. During this second clip, the son told his mother, "You are right. Agreement is powerful." How do you think his mom felt when he said, "You are right"? Eventually, he used distraction, suggesting a glass of milk together, a pleasant distraction that interests mom. If only we could all be so alert, caring, and compassionate in the middle of the night. Responding to late-day confusion takes practice, patience, and energy. Give yourself time to try some new approaches, to be curious, and to see what feels comfortable for you. This is a practice, and it takes time. Supporting someone through late-day confusion takes time, energy, patience, and creativity. It can be emotionally draining. Caregivers have shared with us that they feel a variety of emotions. Some emotions arise from being unable to change the situation, a tough situation that you may not have expected nor certainly wanted. Feeling like this may make you uncomfortable, but these emotions are normal and common, so let them be there. Your feelings make sense. How do you feel when late-day confusion happens? Do any of these emotions on the screen resonate with you? Hopefully by now, you recognize that supporting someone with late-day confusion can be challenging. There are others who also experience these challenges, and that it's okay for you to feel frustrated, to make mistakes, to lose our patience, and to try again. Caregiving is not only a journey, it's a learned skill. It takes practice. We're all here to learn and practice. You may have learned some great techniques and ideas for supporting someone through late-day confusion. Some strategies we've discussed today may not work for everyone, or may not work today, or may not work tomorrow. We know that sometimes strategies that failed in the past may work in the future as the disease progresses. Our approach to supporting someone with late-day confusion also needs to change over time. Don't be afraid to revisit techniques that didn't work in the past. Resilience and building self-compassion is not linear. We learn to be resilient through our experiences, through making mistakes, forgiving ourselves and starting again, reaching out, learning new strategies. In the helpful resources document, as I've mentioned, uh, you'll find it down below this video, we have included links to 2 webinars with Dr. Elizabeth Grant on mindfulness and caregiver resilience. Those videos include a couple of simple mindfulness exercises that can help in the moment to build your resilience. And if you're still feeling stuck, please don't hesitate to call the First Link Dementia Helpline. So we've looked at what late-day confusion is, causes and triggers, behaviors, some responses or examples of responses, and encouraged you to practice self-compassion. So as we draw to a close, I hope that you're feeling better able to recognize late-day confusion and that you've made note of a couple of strategies you're going to try. One last strategy for supporting yourself that I'd like to share with you is our Tele support groups for caregivers. This new normal looks like it's going to be in place for some time into the future. So we've started regular, monthly, telephone support groups for caregivers. We have a variety of groups at different days of the week and times of the day, and we also have groups that are specific to different regions in the province if connecting with people who are geographically close to you is important to you. We also have groups that are focused more on specific situations, such as caregivers of someone with young onset, or of a person who is living in long-term care, or caregivers who are adult children of the person with dementia. The important thing is that there's a safe space to share your experiences with others who are likely to share many of your feelings. You can sign up for these by calling our First Link Dementia Helpline and asking about Tele support groups. And so, if you'd like more information about our Tele support groups, or if you have questions about information you've heard here, or any other questions about living with dementia, please don't hesitate to call our First Link Dementia Helpline. English services are available Monday to Friday from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. at 1-800-936-6033. And as listed on the screen, we also have services available in Cantonese or Mandarin and in Punjabi. Those are also available Monday to Friday from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m.